The NFL Gambling Podcast Week 2 recap show and Week 4 look ahead lines on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use the code SGP. New customers can score $200 bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on football, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code SGP. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use the promo code CFBX on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app and use the promo code CFBX. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the underdog, pick 'em in college or NFL, and win up to 20 times in one game. Use the promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit up to $100. And finally, but not least, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, game lines. Download the Hall of Fame app or visit hofbets.com. Use the promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today.
I'm just about that action, boss.
You have to be kidding me. That is impossible.
I'm raising the ante. Anybody wants any deal?
Jordan Davis, dog. Jalen Hurts, dog. AJ Brown, dog. How many people want to eat a W tonight?
And welcome back to the NFL Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Monday, September the 18th. Moving along in the National Football League. We got a doubleheader tonight before we completely move on to Week 3. But before we do so, we got to recap all the fun action from yesterday. And if you're wondering who you're listening to, I am Ryan McIntyre, a.k.a. Moneyline Mac, and joined each and every week. You guys know him from the old-fashioned football. He is JMark Football. JMark, what is going on, brother?
First of all, I like your hat. Very
Thank
nice.
you. Eat shit, pit, baby.
Were you singing along to Sweet Caroline this weekend?
I think I started it. Me and 60,000 other crazy Mountaineer fans. As you can tell, my voice is not probably 100% right now. Still finally got it back a little bit this morning. Well, definitely was a rough turnaround after that crazy weekend. I think my liver needs a break for about a year or so. But, yeah, great weekend. And obviously the Skins get in the win column too, 2-0. I don't want to tout too much because I know you had a tough Sunday. What caught your eye yesterday before we dive into each game-by-game recaps?
Yeah, I was going to say my voice is hoarse and I wasn't even at a game. I was just screaming at the TV, trying to figure out what the hell the Bears are doing, only running the ball with Khalil Herbert 9 times. I just feel like they're trying to overcoach Fields. It's shitty to be a Bears fan right now. And for probably one of the first times in a long time, I'm no longer like that hopeful fan. I'm just like, yeah, we're going to suck this year. It's going to be a shit year. It is what it is. But no, there were a lot of good games. I mean, we had 2 overtime games. The Seahawks-Lions, again, a back and forth, high-scoring thing, just like last year. That was interesting. Some key injuries. I think Anthony Richardson will be fine, but he had that concussion. And Gardner Minshew Mania came in and did just fine. So that was interesting. And then, of course, the Giants with their big comeback against the shitty Cardinals, keeping my bet alive of Cardinals last team to win a game. I thought that was over for sure. Wish I would have live bet the Giants. I was driving and I saw the score flash on my phone. I'm like, damn it, I better not reach over there and mess with my phone. So missed out on that. But yeah, it was a good weekend of football minus the Bears.
I got in on it 10-1 at halftime because I was like, man, you got to think the Giants are going to get it going eventually. And then, the Cardinals, they're openly tanking. So able to get in. I got in on it for you. I'll buy some whiskey for next weekend. I say I need a break, but I'll do it's Groundhog Day. I'll do it all over again.
There you go.
let's start at Thursday night, where Philadelphia got it done over the Minnesota Vikings 34-28. This was a weird game. I feel like obviously the backdoor cover hits.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is known for his backdoor cover. Not really sure why Sirianni didn't go for two when they extended the lead from 27-21. I think you would go for two there to push it to a 14-point game. Obviously the over hit here. What were your takeaways from this Thursday night game? The problem with like doing the show on a Monday is it's like I got to remember what the hell happened in that Thursday because I've been watching football for the last 48 hours straight. What the Thursday, that feels like a month ago.
Yeah, no kidding. Both these teams feel just a little bit fraudulent so far to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the Eagles, they won against the Patriots week 1, but it wasn't necessarily impressive. This week, DeAndre Swift was impressive, but aside from that, I mean, a couple big plays to Devonta Smith, and that's it. The Vikings have a comeback in basically garbage time. I mean, they need to figure their shit out too if they want to be competitive, but we kind of called that at the beginning of the year about how, they got so lucky last year that they're not going to have that same luck rolling. And it's obvious now they're losing 2 close games. They don't have that same luck. I guess this one wasn't very close, but the last week was. They're not going to have that same luck. And it'll be interesting. Now Eagles dealing with multiple injuries on defense. I think their defense was already struggling a little bit with the coordinator change. And so it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back from that.
Yeah, I think the main thing why the Vikings were on the short end of this, they lose the turnover battle 4-1 too. So obviously the Justin Jefferson, the fumble out of the end zone at the end of the first half was a dagger. I think you touched on it too with the Eagles. Like last year, they were on the right side of the injuries. I felt like they were pretty fortunate. It's kind of swinging back, and they're getting the injury bug early. In the Vikings 11-0 until the playoffs last year in those one-score games, already 0-2 to start. So regression to the mean, easiest thing that we saw this coming, like you said. Minnesota 0-2. They got LA coming up next week, 2 desperate 0-2 teams. Philly, battle of the unbeatens in Tampa Bay next Monday night. So I don't think anybody had that one. But I think that's all for this game. So we'll transition over to the Sunday slate, and we'll lead it off in just how everybody drew it up. Kansas City, Jacksonville go way under 17-6. You got 2 of the top quarterbacks in the league. What was your takeaway from this? The Chiefs do not look right now.
No, they don't at all. And it's unusual to see Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce not on the same page. I mean, he was targeted 10 times, only brought in 4 of those, I believe. Very unusual for that to happen. The Jags should have been closer in this game. It should have been a closer game than this. And then with the under, it's one of those things like all these games that you expect to go over, it seems like this is how they go. They're slow. The teams don't score and execute. And, it's interesting how that seems to happen to us all the time. Like we're so sure, this is going to be an over, and it ends up like a game like this.
Yeah, I think if you're the Jags, you got to be disappointed. Anytime you can hold Kansas City to 7 or 17 points, you feel like you got to get that one. Mahomes, I mean, he still threw for 300 yards. Lawrence was not good yesterday. He kept missing throw after throw in the red zone, and it felt like Jacksonville was in the red zone for about 20 minutes of real time at the end, but they never could get the ball in the end zone. They kept getting short, kept getting stalled out at the goal line. And then I think Lawrence threw like 3 balls to the back of the end zone. So not one of their better games in Jacksonville, in a spot where they've had this one circled forever. Shout out to Nick Fortune in the chat talking about fantasy football. Shouting out old-fashioned football because, yes, get over there. He's starting Kirk Cousins and the Vikings game, and shout out to Kirky, 4 touchdowns. From here, Kansas City. So Kansas City, Jacksonville, both 1-1.
KC
Kansas
will be
City,
2-1. So
yeah, Kansas City has the Bears, unfortunately, and Jacksonville's probably going to be 2-1 as well because they got Houston at home. So, that game that following week's in London against Falcons. I was like, man, they have 3 straight home games. But yeah, no, that's following week. So, yeah, we start getting some London games here soon, which I always love because you can get a little mimosa, Bloody Mary action to start your Sunday. But before we keep talking about these games, we got to talk about DraftKings because we're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in the NFL action and gives out great offers every single day. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw $5 down on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. DraftKings isn't stopping here. All customers can score an advantage of 2 new offers every day or every game day in the month of September. We're looking, we gave out some look-ahead lines headed into this next week. I feel like I keep taking the Patriots every week and they keep breaking my heart. But Belichick owns the New York Football Jets, especially Zach Wilson. Like he makes those quarterbacks he goes. So I'll probably take the Patriots again. Hopefully they don't break my heart for the 3rd straight week. Football's more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now. Sign the code SGP. New customers can bet just $5 to get 200 instantly bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League with the code SGP. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. State restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance. And we're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time, get over there. I was at a ball game this weekend, the backyard brawl. I got my tickets over at Game Time. And, I waited. Seats were expensive. But you know what? With Game Time, they dropped those prices right before kickoff, and you get the best deal. Killer deals on last-minute tickets, best price guaranteed, and you can stop stressing over tickets and start getting hyped while you want to have fun at these games. You don't want to be worrying about all your finances. You just go to the game, watch football, drink beer, eat a hot dog, and have a great time. Do so over at Game Time. Snag the tickets without stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code CFBX for $20 first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we're back on the NFL Gambling Podcast. We were all over this next game in our Week 2 preview. Buffalo gets their revenge, and they took it to Vegas here, 38-10. Bills do what they do best. They beat the shit out of the bad teams and then lose all these close games. What was your takeaway of this one, JMark?
Not just that they got the job done like they should have. They didn't make those silly errors. And was there an easier bet this week than the Bills and the Cowboys to cover? I mean, parlaying that just seemed like easy money.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Bills, like you said, such a smash spot. This is Vegas back-to-back road spot. They had to go to Denver Mile High, and they got that win. Everybody's telling them how good they were all week, and you knew they were just going to walk into a Hornets nest at Buffalo Field with all this crazy Adam Pelletiers jumping through the tables. I mean, I got the stats pulled up. Out possession time them 40-20. Ran 74 plays to the Raiders 39. 450 yards of offense to the Raiders 240. The Raiders did strike first in this game, which was I didn't see that coming. So
same
for these two teams, the Bills will go 1-1, and they will head to DC next week for the undefeated Skins. So we'll see. And the Vegas Raiders up next have the Steelers coming to Sunday night. This game, it depends what number you got it at with the total. It's if you got it at 47, obviously it went over. But yeah, the Bills cover, and they are on to 1-1. All right, next up on the slate, this one was a little surprising to me. Cincinnati is 0-2 once again. Baltimore gets it done. Panic time in Cincinnati yet, JMark?
Well, everything I'm hearing is that Burrow re-aggravated his calf injury. And if he ends up missing time, I think it's panic time. I don't know if this team can win games without a healthy Joe Burrow. I mean, he's not healthy now, it doesn't seem like, and they're not winning games. So when he's going to be off the field, I think they're going to be at risk of losing more here.
Yeah, I I didn't get rushing him back for week 1. I
Right.
think
Agreed.
everybody saw that his calf was not right, and now all of a sudden this thing could get really, really ugly. The Bengals, it's crazy. They win back-to-back divisions. They go to a Super Bowl, but right now they got to be the worst team in the AFC North just from the 2 games we've
Yeah.
seen. I don't think it's very close. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure some will make the argument for the Steelers after that week 1 shit show that they put up, but
Yeah.
I think that was more of just the Niners just really dominated week 1. So I think the Steelers are going to look much better tonight. And so, yeah, I agree. Bengals are looking like the worst right now. They're going to have to turn it around quickly because we know how competitive that division is.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the other side, Baltimore gets to 2-0. Lamar, he looked all right. He was getting the ball out, goes for 24 for 33, 237, two touchdowns. What do you think about Lamar so far in this new offense?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he started to put it together in the second half here. Seemed to start slow again. I was at the in-laws cabin, and we have a family league this year to try to get some of them into fantasy football that have never done it. And my father-in-law has Lamar, and he was complaining, well, he looks like shit again. He's going to sit on my bench next week. So he went and took a nap and then woke up, and I was like, hey, he threw 2 touchdowns at least. So just slow going. And he looks like they might be starting to kind of put it together, but I don't know if this offense suits Lamar the best. I guess I'm still waiting to see him flash off any type of like, oh, this is going to be an MVP season or anything like that for him.
Yep, I agree. And, but at least they're finding ways to win games while they try and find themselves. I do question still the fit of Lamar in the system, but so far so good for the Ravens. 2-0. Got the Colts coming to Baltimore next week, so they'll have a real good shot to start 3-0 here. For the Bengals, they got a big one next Monday night. They got the LA Rams coming to town. Another doubleheader we got next week for Monday Night Football. This game, I hit the over 27-24, and if you had the Ravens on the money line and had the points, you were a winner. So good win, Ravens. Bengals, you got to get that thing going in the right direction. Speaking of a team that needs to get some things going in the right directions, the LA Chargers drop another close one. Tennessee, Mike Vrabel gets it done as a dog. We were talking about this earlier. The Chargers are so frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. And this all came down to they just could not stop Derrick Henry. That's the only thing they really needed to do to win this game. And they couldn't do it. I mean, I guess on offense, they couldn't really get out of their own way either. But the main thing here was you push it into overtime. You have to go into overtime, and you just can't stop Derrick Henry. You know they're going to run with Henry. Make Tannehill beat you. Make Tannehill beat you over the top. See if he can do it, because I don't think he can. He has not looked that great this year. Including this game, even though they got the win. So I don't know what they're doing. They're supposed to have a good defense, but they've not shown that to me anyways.
That seat's getting ready to get really, really hot for Brandon Staley, because they 0-2. You mentioned it. Herbert, once again, stats look all right. Goes for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But the win's not there. Another close loss for these Chargers. The over did hit in this one as well. Looking ahead to next week for these two teams. The Chargers go to Minnesota, 2 desperate spots. Tennessee gets to 1-1, and if you got them on the money line, you won. Tennessee, interesting one. They go to Cleveland next week. How much do these Chargers miss a guy like Austin Eckler, JMark?
Oh, huge. That's huge. I know a lot of people thought Josh Kelly, myself included, because week 1 he looked pretty decent. I thought he'd be able to step in there and help them enough, but he could not. The replacement value was not the same. They need Eckler on that field, and they need him healthy. So hopefully that ankle heals quickly for him.
Yeah. Hopefully it does heal quickly. So, because they need it, and they need to start getting in the win column so that they don't fall too far behind. How about Seattle Seahawks? We gave that out on our we were on that I can't talk. We were on that pick on our preview show last week. Get it done, 37-31. Start fast. Furious Detroit Lions run at the end. But Geno gets it done in overtime. Both teams 1-1. Classic letdown spot for the Lions, wasn't it, JMark?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, neither one of us thought they were going to win this game, because that's just how it works. You know, you had all off season to prep for these Chiefs. You only had 1 week to prep for the Seahawks, and it just didn't seem like it was going to be a victory for them. Kind of looked like the same old Lions, where they start slow, they rally a little at the end, but they come up short. Geno actually looked good. I was worried after week 1 how he looked against the Rams, thinking, man, that was just one season that he looked good and he's done, but he looked good. I mean, he picked up some yardage on the ground. He threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think the Seahawks are going to be just fine.
And whatever it is with Geno, he likes playing this line team because last year they went to Detroit, won 48-45, 37-31 this year. Points. I think we keep betting overs with the Lions, man. Their defense is bad. That was one of my biggest takeaways. They can't stop a nosebleed. So over under on that one was 47. Hits easy. Lions got another home game next week. Atlanta 2-0 comes to town. Seattle, on the other hand, goes back to the Great Northwest, and Carolina will come to them on a short week. Seems like a good spot to back the Seahawks potentially again with the long trip on a short week for Carolina. But we'll talk about that one later in the week. Moving along in this slate, next up we got – this game was disgusting. Colts get it done 31-20 against the Houston Texans. This was never a game. Colts kind of just kicked their ass, didn't they? They
did. You only think it's disgusting because you thought the Texans were going to pull this one out.
I know. I know. It's disgusting
as
on my end.
Yeah. As soon as Anthony Richardson went down, I thought, all right, this is going to be a game now. But Minshew came in and had no issues. I mean, and C.J. Stroud, he looks okay. 384 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he's throwing the ball more than any other quarterback so far through 2 weeks. And I don't think that's how you win with a rookie quarterback. They need to get that ground game going. Dameon Pierce couldn't get anything going. Devin Singletary. I mean, their run blocking is terrible, and they need to fix that first. And then the wins will start coming. I think they need to get that fixed.
Yeah. The Colts have an identity. They're going to run the ball. That's kind of what I've taken from the Colts the first 2 weeks. But while the Texans can't run the ball. So that's kind of been the difference between these two teams. D'Amico Ryans 0-2 to start his career in Houston. And for Houston, like I said, they go to Jacksonville next week. So they've always had Jacksonville's number for some reason. We'll see if they can give them fits once again. Indy, on the other hand, gets in the win column, gets to 1-1. They go to Baltimore next week. And I think we said enough about this game. Before we continue in this slate, we got to talk about Hall of Fame bets because win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame bets. The sports betting analytics platform, player props, game lines, research any NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea with the Hall of Fame's revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to hit rates broken down by each leg, as well as expected probability of the entire parlay. Sort out all the players by hit rate and see which ones have the best value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with the Hall of Fames to craft a more intelligent, data-driven parlay. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and use the code SGPN to get 50% off the first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy because it has a way to play alongside your favorite fantasy football team all season long. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, and you want to win real money. And all you're going to do is watch along, make your picks, and maybe a little bit of cash with Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. And when you use the sign-up code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. And we're back on the NFL Gambling Podcast. Week 2 recap, talking Packers, Falcons. What a game. The Falcons are 2-0. Protect home field. Shout out to the Falcons. What'd you take away from your bitter rivals in this one, JMark?
Well, when they started off the game ahead, I was going to be sick that the Packers are going to be 2-0. Jordan Love looked like he didn't look that great even though they were winning. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm glad that they lost in the end. I think the Packers really missed not having Aaron Jones there. I think that was a big thing for their offense. But this Falcons team, I like the Falcons team. They wear the defense out by running the ball, and running the ball some more. They're tough on defense. They show up when they need to, and this is kind of a fun team to watch. I mean, I know they're not the most electric team you see because they're not doing all the passing that everybody likes, but they got some bruisers, and I like watching this team.
They run the shit out of the ball. That's a good way
Yeah.
of putting it. Bijan goes 19 carries, 124, 6.5 yards to carry. Algier, not as effective as he has been, 16 carries, 48 yards. Ritter still a little bit up and down, but he made enough plays, got the balls to those talented backs. But yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. This Falcons team, if you can't stop the run, good luck beating them, man, because they're just going to run it and run it some more. And then when you think they're done running it, they're going to run it again. So that's the Falcons in 2023, a throwback team. Them and the Titans are like the same, and that's why Arthur Smith worked for Vrabel. Green Bay goes to 1-1, drops to 1-1. They finally go back home for their first opener, and they're going to take on New Orleans, who will be on a short week. Atlanta goes to Detroit. And JMark, there's always 1 to 2 games a week where it's really important you get the better of the number. Because when we did the show, the Green Bay was laying 1 point, 1.5. Then it flipped midway through the week. And then with the injury news, goes all the way up to 3. Yep. What did you think of that line movement? That was probably the crazier line moves of the week, I would say.
That was crazy. It made me a little nervous that we were on the Falcons because usually you see that type of line movement and it goes the opposite way. You know, the team that was originally favored wins. So glad to see the Falcons pulled it out, even if it was a little hectic at the end there.
No doubt. Yeah, no, that's great comeback. Falcons 2-0 for the first time since the Matty Ryan days. All right, JMark, we got to talk Chicago Bears. Bucks.
Wait, do we have to?
Yeah, I think we're contractually obligated to. I'll be on the positive side. Shout out to Baker Mayfield, 2-0 in his new home with the Bucks. He once again, it wasn't pretty, but made enough throws, competed. They're 2-0. I know you did not miss a play in this game. You watch your Bears week after week. What was your takeaway from the Chicago side first, or the Tampa Bay? Get the Tampa Bay out of the way, and then I'll let you vent about your Bears.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was on Baker as a sleeper in fantasy football because I thought he'd be able to do some damage with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and he's done just that. He's looked pretty good. And Mike Evans he's a beast no matter who he's matching up against, even if it is a piss poor secondary like Chicago. So Bucks have something going here. I know, excuse me. I know a lot of people thought that they were going to be one of the lower teams on the totem pole. I don't necessarily see that being the case. I think they're going to continue to be aggressive and they're going to continue to compete in these games. As far as the Bears, the lack of effort is terrible. You never want to hear that one of your wide receivers, Chase Claypool, spent the week apologizing to his teammates due to his lack of effort. You're paid millions of dollars. You should never apologize for a lack of effort because there should never be a lack of effort. I know he got a touchdown, but he also missed a bunch of plays. The defense, they can't tackle. They're too focused on punching the ball. It's like, let's go back to fundamentals. Let's just fucking tackle somebody. Our defensive backfield did have injuries, so there was that. And then Fields, I don't know. He's so hesitant to run. I don't know if he's worried about getting injured or if they've told him don't run unless you absolutely have to, but he seems like he's almost being overcoached and it's becoming a negative impact on him.
Yeah. I've 4 carries for 3 yards. I mean, last year you could pencil him in for a 70-yard run each week.
Yeah.
It's starting to get to the point where Fields needs to start making some strides. Would you agree with that? I mean, it's last year the line was bad. They addressed some of that, got some more weapons, but now it's year 2, man. You got to start seeing some strides. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, in a couple more games like this, I'm going to be saying, hey, we got Tyson Bagent sitting there. Let's see what he can do because he
Yeah.
looked good in preseason.
Hey, I love it. Preseason, baby. That's why you got to only the NFL gambling podcast where we give out NFL preseason picks. The Bears are 0-2, and my God, it doesn't get any easier because they go to Arrowhead next week where they're almost a 2-touchdown dog. JMark, you'll give it on the money line. Let's go. Bucks are going to be a touchdown dog at home in the Battle of 2-0s on Monday Night Football with the Eagles coming to town. One of the two games set for next week. So shout out to the Bucks. Good win. It was hot down there, wasn't it?
Yeah, very hot. I think they said 98 degrees with high humidity.
Oof. Yeah, no, it looked hot on TV. The overhit as well, and the Bucks are 2-0 ATS, and the Bears are 0-2. All right, let's go to a team that avoided getting to 0-2 because they were able to rally from 20-0 down. Gave me a nice 10-1 live money line hit. The New York Football Giants. I guess a win's a win, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you erase their first 6 quarters of this year and only focus on those last 2, they look really good. I mean, Dan Jones finally dropped the Daniel and went back to being Dan Jones in that second half and rallied the troops. But also, it was the Cardinals. I mean, if this was any other team and they were down that big, it would have been a much better payout than 10-1. But it's the Cardinals, so I don't know if we can take this as a sample of, hey, the Giants are gonna have turned it around already after a pitiful week 1 and a terrible first half in this game. So I would still be concerned if I was Giants fans, aka Kramer.
I agree with you. And honestly, that was a home game for the Giants. There were no Cardinal fans at that game. Cardinals are 2-0 though against the spread. They've actually, I will give that team credit. That team has actually been feisty. They play hard. They're just not talented. What'd you think of Dobbs? I thought Dobbs made some plays. Obviously, he had the big run, ran somebody over for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they ride him the whole year?
I think so. I mean, maybe I didn't say maybe at some point they want to see what they have in Clayton Tune, but I don't think so. I think they go with Dobbs. And you're right. He has made these offensive playmakers that you kind of thought they're not going to do anything, but he's made them semi-relevant, right? I mean, your Marquise Brown, Zach Ertz, and even Michael Wilson. So maybe, I mean, Dobbs is kind of giving that fire. Everybody else, the organization's like, we're tanking, and he's like, not me. I'm going to keep trying to get another job here.
Yeah, no, he's doing a good job for what he's dealt. I mean, the limited weapons. Arizona 0-2, another close loss. They play Dallas next week, where they're probably going to get drilled. I think their close losses are going to run out here. Giants have a short week. They're going to stay out west, go to San Fran, and take on those Niners. Tough task here, short week, but the Giants will stay out on the West Coast. Speaking of those Niners, they were able to get it done 30-23. And if you had the Rams, shout out to Sean McVay for kicking a field goal at the horn to cut it 7 to cash it plus 7.5. A little bit of a sleepy spot for the Niners yesterday, didn't you think?
Yeah, or maybe these Rams are better than we think. I mean, they creamed the Seahawks in week 1, and I think they just started a little slower than they should have against the Niners. But Matt Stafford looks like Matt Stafford again. I mean, I don't see him as this old injured guy that's not getting the job done like last year. And shout out to Puka Nacua, who has broken the rookie record for most catches in a game with 15 and most catches through 2 weeks with 25. He's been really good for them, and I'm excited to see what happens when he and Cooper Kupp are both on the field.
Yeah. No, what do you have, 15 targets yesterday?
Yeah.
No. Sorry. He had 22 targets. Yeah, 20
catches.
15 catches, 147. Looked like Cooper Kupp out there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these Rams with Cooper Kupp back. Maybe they, like you said, if they could stay healthy, they're so front loaded with the way that they just run their organization, giving up all their draft picks. but they still have good players. Aaron Donald's good. Also, Stafford's pretty damn good still. Goes for over 300 yards against that talented defense. But Niners still the class of the league, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's interesting to me though their approach so far. They said they weren't going to run McCaffrey into the ground. They were going to kind of temper that because they know his injury history, and he's been basically the sole running back. Elijah Mitchell has seen nothing, so that's kind of sticking out to me. They got to be careful with that.
No doubt, especially with his injury history. But a quick week, quick turn. They got the Giants coming to town. And then these Rams will go to Cincinnati for Monday Night Football next week. Moving along, and there's another 2-0 team in the National Football League. It's the Washington Redskins, baby. I can't believe they won this game. I'm not going to lie. When they went down 21-3, I said, well, 1-1, we're going back home, get ready for Buffalo. That defense really stepped up. Chase Young was back, Montez Sweat, John Allen, Deron Payne. They got really good players on the perimeter too, and McLaurin and Dotson. And the young quarterback Sam Howell, he made big time throws in the second half. Maybe the Bieniemy dynamic I think is working so far. Sam Howell almost goes for 300 yards. They haven't scored 35 points more than once in the Ron Rivera era, so I'm not used to us scoring all these points. What'd you think of Sam Howell yesterday and these Skins, man?
Yeah, he looked good. I think he is proving that he can lead this franchise. He's not the sexiest quarterback as far as making plays like a Patrick Mahomes or these things that, these quarterbacks that everybody's comparing to now, like, well, Patrick Mahomes does this, but he looks good. He looks like a franchise quarterback that can win games. And Brian Robinson also looks damn good. And what a story from last year. He got shot and made his comeback, and he did okay then, but it seemed like Antonio Gibson still kind of had the backfield. And this year to take over like he has, I mean, it's been refreshing to see. I was big on Brian Robinson, and I think with Sam Howell, if he can keep throwing the ball like he has been, and Brian Robinson running, this offense is going to be hard to stop. And like you said, their defense, I know they gave up 33 points, but some of that was a little fluky. But the defense, if they can keep getting 7 sacks every week like they did this week, this Commanders team might be one to watch for.
Yeah, I'm as optimistic right now as I've been in a while. 2-0. Got to work on batting it down this week. Talk about your bad beat that you had because of that Hail Mary. How the hell did that ball get to him?
I don't know. I did a like an in-game bet for the Rams to cover I think it was 10 at that time spread. Yeah. The Cowboys to cover 19.5. The Commanders only had to cover 2.5, and I thought there was a cash out opportunity. I'm like, they're going to cover this 2.5. They were up big by that time, and then that Hail Mary. I'm like, are you kidding me? How do you let that happen? Just knock it down to the ground. Come on.
This is a weird game, like you said. Denver jumped out, and like I said, I was like, oh, we're getting blown out today. 21-3, mile high. We're sucking wind. And then the Skins outscored them 32-3 over a 2-quarter period. It really was one of the weirder games. Let's talk about the other side. I'm going to keep touting at 2-0. I'll keep saying it, but there's big-time issues on that other side. Broncos 0-2, both games at home, and you lose to Vegas and Washington. That's about as bad a start as any team in the NFL, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. I had hope that I thought they were going to turn it around some this year. I thought Russ was going to turn it around, and 308 yards is not bad. But again, some of those big fluky plays, take those out, and he's less than 200, right? And then he ran for 56 yards. If you're Denver, you can't have Russell Wilson be your leading rusher. You can't. You're not going to win games that way.
No, and like you said, his stats were a little inflated because of the Hail Mary and then the fast start. But they were gifted that schedule to get Washington and Vegas at home, and then you don't win either. At worst, you got to go at least 1-1. But Washington goes 2-0, and they got Buffalo coming to town. Let's go. If they beat Buffalo, I might be saying Super Bowl, baby. Denver on the other side, they're 0-2, and they got to go to Miami now. Good luck, man. They're staring 0-3 right in the face. So
Agreed.
times are not good. Sean Payton and Russell Wilson there. Speaking of times that are good, times are good in Dallas right now because they just absolutely annihilated another New York team, 30-10. What was your takeaway from this game? Unfortunately, I think Dallas is pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. And Dallas now 70-10 against New York teams this year, which is crazy. But this defense is very good. I still have not been super impressed with the offense, though. Aside from CeeDee Lamb, it just kind of seems like they're so-so. But at the same time, they've gone against two teams where they've gotten a decent lead, and they just need to go through the motions in order to close the game out. So it'll be interesting to see how they hold up once they get into a competitive game. But maybe with that defense, they don't have many competitive games. I don't know.
Yeah, they're Zach Wilson struggled yesterday against that defense. 12 of 27, 3 interceptions. This box score looked a lot like that Buffalo Vegas box score. Dallas wins the time of possession 42-18, 83-46 plays, more than 200 yards of offense compared to the Jets. I think I'm with you, though. If there's a weak link on Dallas, it's Dak. The rest of the team is really good. Dak was good yesterday, but I still don't trust Dak, especially in a big game.
Yeah. I mean, if you take out CeeDee Lamb's 143 yards, nobody else really did much with Dak. I mean, Pollard ran 25 times for 72 yards. That's less than 3 yards a carry. So that's not very good. I know the Jets defense is good, but that's supposed to be one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. So I think they gotta figure out a better pace on their offense or something if they're gonna beat these bigger teams in the NFC.
Indeed. And Dallas goes to Arizona. They'll be trying to go for 3-0 to start the year. On the other side, the New York Jets got their old pal coming to town, New England Patriots, who absolutely own the Jets. So they got to figure some things out offensively with no Aaron Rodgers. Do you think there's any hope with Zach Wilson?
No. I mean, he's the same quarterback he was last year. There's a couple games where he looks good, but otherwise he's just so hit and miss and throwing interceptions when he shouldn't be or can't, No,
I agree with you. All right, let's wrap it up in week number 2, Sunday Night Football. And so far, the most impressive team in terms of what they've been able to do on the road, the Miami Dolphins, go into Foxborough. This was a horrible spot for them, having to come back from L.A., then go all the way up to Boston. But, hey, man, that Tua and that offense are rolling. Tua goes for 250 yards, 1 touchdown. Mostert, really good on the ground. It's a hell of a win for the Dolphins in Foxborough. They never win there.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a dramatic finish with Mac Jones
lateral.
Completed the pass. Yeah, got lateraled to, I think, an offensive lineman, and his knee came down, and the ball was just short of that first down. That would have been really interesting to see them continue down the field. Of course, I was sitting on a decent ticket where I needed a Waddle touchdown, and I was hoping maybe he could shake off the concussion before and the Patriots would score, and then he could go down the field and score, but didn't work out that way. And you're right, the Dolphins have looked impressive, and I think as long as Tua stays healthy, they're going to be one of the top teams in the AFC.
Yeah, were you surprised that they overturned that? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, I didn't think there was enough evidence to overturn it at all. I get what they were saying of, well, you can see kind of right here, but it was a kind of, you couldn't really see it. So yeah, I was pretty surprised.
I agree. What's your takeaways for Mac Jones and Bill O'Brien's offense early on? He's last night, it's kind of up and down, 31 of 42 for 230, a touchdown. He looks a lot better than last year, but still missing some throws, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. I can't believe they've thrown the ball that much, though. I mean, I know they've been behind in some games, but I know this is a new offense. I know Bill O'Brien wants to spread it out more, but you got to think that this team wins by running it down your throat with Ramondre Stevenson.
Agreed. Yeah, and it'll be interesting. We've seen New England start slow these last couple of years. I think they've gone 1-3 to start the last 2 years, basically the post Brady era. They've been losing these early home games, but maybe, like you said, they turn their identity more into a ground and pound team and kind of just go basically with how the weather's going to change here. It's going to start getting colder, which means they're going to start reverting back to that kind of smash mouth football style of play that we're talking about. But they're 0-2. They lost 2 home games to 2 good teams, Philadelphia and Miami. But they got to go get a win. They got to go to New York and get off that 0-2 skid. And for the Dolphins, they got Denver coming to town. So great opportunity to start 3-0. And like you said, things are good for Miami right now as long as Tua stays healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
All righty, let's dive into week 4. Or real quick, we'll recap our look-ahead lines to week number 3. Week number 2. 4 out of the ones did not move. That we gave out, but Miami was -3.5 against Denver. We gave that out. That's up to 6.5. Dallas was -7.5 against Arizona, and that thing is up to 12.5. So hopefully you got on the right side of those. But hey, let's go. Let's dive into week number 4, because it's here, man. Week 3 starts, but we're looking ahead to week 4. So what's going to be your first one you're going to give out that you want to get ahead of?
Yeah. First one, Rams are a 1-point dog at the Colts. I know the Colts just had a nice win against the Texans, but I think this Rams team is going to be competitive in their division. I think they're going to be too much for the Colts, and Puka Nacua is going to have another big game. So I like catching the Rams as a dog right now because I wouldn't be surprised if they're favored by next week.
I like that. I'll go to Tennessee. I'm getting the Titans as a 4.5-point dog against the Cincinnati Bengals. Maybe wrong team's even favored, but I think that thing's definitely below 3 by the time we get to kickoff. So I'll get it before that line moves. So I'm in with the Titans at +4.5.
Yeah, and that's crazy knowing that Burrow may be looking at missing time, that the Titans are 4.5-point dogs.
Yeah, great point. So if Burrow does miss, then Tennessee's going off as a favorite. But even if Burrow's there, that thing's on the other side of 3 with the way that those two have played.
Agreed. My other one I got here, Vikings 1-point favorites against the Panthers. I know the Vikings are 0-2 right now, but they still have a lot of talent, and I think Carolina is still working on kind of finding their identity with Bryce Young as their quarterback. I don't think Vikings are only favored by a point. I think this is more 2.5, maybe even 3 by the time we get to the game.
I like that one as well. What's San Francisco? I know it's a bigger number, but San Francisco always just annihilates these bad teams. That thing's sitting at -10.5. By the time we get to that thing next week, I think that thing's going to be 2 touchdowns. Game's in San Francisco, extended rest. I'll take the value here that they're going to just choke out the Cardinals. That's the right term.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Let's see. Last one here. Okay, I'm going to hopefully reverse jinx this, but Denver only a 1-point favorite against Chicago, the lowly Bears, who will be 0-3, limping to face Denver. Denver's going to be a 3-point dog by then. Everybody's going to say this Bears team's the worst in the NFL. So give me Denver to cover that spread, and maybe I'll reverse jinx it, and the Bears will win a game.
Love it. Love the reverse jinx. It worked for me yesterday with Denver. Yeah. I knew what I was doing. For my final one, I'll go to Sunday night. Kansas City's only a 2-point favorite against the Jets. I like the Jets defense, but with that offense, for what I saw, I think that thing will be 4.5, 5.5, maybe even 6. That line was there when Aaron Rodgers was there. Aaron Rodgers is not walking through that door. So I'll be on the Chiefs -2.
I don't know. He did say doubt him and watches what he'll do.
He's going to go in the darkness of a retreat.
Right.
All right, everybody. That's our week 4 look at headlines. We'll see how those things flip. By the time we get there next week, we'll recap that with week 3 recap. JMark and I are back Wednesday to do week 3 morning picks and preview that morning slate or early afternoon slate, depending on what time zone you're in. But before we get out of here, JMark, tell everybody where to find you. It's Monday night.
Yeah, find me at JMark Football, but also find me over at Old Fashioned Football. We're doing waivers tonight. Start sits. We've been killing them. And that's on Thursday, so check us out.
Yep. You heard it first. Go check out the Old Fashioned Football. I'll be over there tonight. Find me at Moneyline_Mac. Go check out the college experience. College basketball previews are starting here soon. College football obviously is going. Good luck whichever side you're betting on Monday night. We got 2 games. I love the doubleheader. But we'll see you guys next week, or we'll see you Wednesday for week 3. Good luck, everybody, and let it ride.